Peace, family. It's your brother, Marc Lamont Hill. So good to see everybody here on this Sunday night. I'm adjusting my screen here. As you can see, I'm not in my normal location. I'm out here trying to make some moves, but I had to talk to you all because there is so much going on in the world. I apologize. We couldn't do night school on Friday night because I'm traveling and moving around and doing all kinds of stuff. But I wanted to make sure we had a conversation, y'all, because the internet is on fire today. I know some of y'all are reading the headlines and saying, wait a minute, JD Vance was caught doing what? JD Vance was caught doing what? Well, let me be very clear. I'm not making this up. This isn't some play on words. This isn't some joke. Um, JD Vance, literally, I'm talking about JD Vance, the vice presidential uh, aspirant, the person standing next to Donald Trump as they try to win the White House, had some photos revealed of him today. I'm going to get right to it so y'all don't think I'm BSing y'all. Y'all want receipts? Here's the receipt. Here is the receipt. See that right there? That is JD Vance. That is the presumptive nominee, or no, he is the nominee officially because they already had their convention. He is the nominee of the Republican Party for the presidency of the United States of America. This man was caught, and I'm using the word caught for a very particular reason. Um, it's not because I want to shame anybody who does drag, who other clothing, who has a gender nonconforming presentation. I don't care who you are. I don't care how you dress. I don't. Um, I want to affirm everybody with love, who makes whatever decisions they make about how they want to present themselves in and to the world. Let me say that first. This ain't about that. This is about JD Vance's hypocrisy. This is about JD Vance's contradictions. This is about a party that makes a choice to move in one way while often contradicting that in other ways. Now, some of you are saying, well, this might be a Halloween costume. Let me take a step back and give you the context for why and how this happened. Because I promise you, I was minding my own business. I didn't had no intention of having this conversation. I didn't have any intention on talking about this. I was here to talk about politics. I did a debate tonight or earlier today with a guy named Uncle Hotep who has been calling me out and trying to um uh just come after me. So I'll post that tomorrow. So I was just in my own lane, minding my own business. Jazz LP, shout out to you, Dallas's finest. JD Vance does need to be shamed. I'm saying I don't want to shame other people who wear drag. I'm shaming JD Vance, not because he wears drag, but because, as you just said properly, because of his hypocrisy. I swear to God, Rosability, the person's name really is Uncle Hotep. I'm not capping. This is a related person's name. All right. So on the interwebs today, a man named Matt 14th or Matt the 14th or Matt XIV came on and wrote this post. Again, nobody knew why, but he wrote, new, I have obtained a photo of JD Vance in drag while at Yale Law School. This is also important. This wasn't in high school. This wasn't even in college doing some frat thing. This is Yale Law School, a time and a moment where he says is formative for him and the time and an experience and a degree and an educational training that he appeals to show how sophisticated a thinker he is and how polished he is, despite allegedly being, from the, a hillbilly, as they say, or as he says. He's like he romanticizes that culture and then shits on them at the same time. But that's another conversation. So he posts this video or this photo, this still of JD Vance at Yale Law School. I believe it was 2012, not that long ago. You see the blonde wig, you see his hands there, see the skirt, the dress, whatever you want to call it. some accessories there. I mean, he's not good at it, but he's doing it. Matt also says a spokesperson for the Republican vice presidential pick did not deny the photo's authenticity when approached by the Daily Beast and did not offer any further comment. Now, this is important because they had the opportunity. I see somebody saying hazing. Hazing happens in undergrad, um, not in law school. The the important thing here, there's a couple things important here, but one thing that I want to point out is that when JD Vance has a photo of him wearing drag in a campaign to represent a party that is deeply homophobic, deeply trans antagonistic, you would think that they would quickly say, "That ain't me." You would think that they would expeditiously deny it. They did not expeditiously deny it. Shout out to T.I. So I reached out to the Vance campaign. Why not? Not because I expected them to tell me anything different, but I wanted to get on the record how they responded to this. They said, "We have no comment on this story." So they told me, "We have no comment on this story." Huh. They didn't say Senator Vance denies the allegations. We have no further comment. He said, "We have no comment." That means it's true and we don't want to talk about it. Now, you don't have to believe me that it's true. You can just look at the photo and see that it's true. That's him. That's his face. That's his wig. That's his dress. Now, the reason why that's important to me is not because I care about JD Vance or about people wearing drag. Again, I don't want there to be any shame in wearing drag. That's your business. That is your life. That is your choice. The issue here is that JD Vance is part of a movement in the Republican Party and a movement in this country. And by the way, this answers the question to some of y'all, like, why are we focused on this? It's because there is a bigger picture here, and that is that Republicans are often um, finding themselves in positions where they challenge or even outright repudiate behavior, and they punish behavior. They even criminalize behavior that they're often involved in. And that becomes why this is interesting, right? When you look at JD Vance, he is one of the people who said that it was a moral atrocity that drag queens were allowed to read to young people. That a moral atrocity. So if reading, if trans, not trans people, if drag queens are moral atrocities, and drag queens reading to children are just a measure of how low we've sunk as a society. And this movement refers to drag queens as groomers, that they're literally grooming and trying to be not just inappropriate, but corrupt the lives and experiences and bodies of our children. If drag queens are that bad, then why are you dragging for this picture? Now, some people say it's Halloween. Maybe it is. I don't know. I'd like to see the Vance campaign respond to it. And again, I don't care why he was dressed like that. That's his business. It only becomes my business when you make it your business to attack gender nonconforming people, trans folk, drag queens, etc. Remember, it is JD Vance who introduced the Protect Children's Innocence Act. The Protect Children's Innocence Act. That is an act in Ohio that aims to criminalize medical institutions, right? That try to offer gender affirmation surgery, that offer hormones, that offer all of these things. He says that not only do I disagree with it, but it should be illegal. See, now y'all getting the connection here. Um, he echoed Ron DeSantis in Florida and other people who came up with the Don't Say Gay bill. right? Or which is not literally what the legislation is called. The legislation is a more complicated and long name, but it's informally called the Don't Say Gay bill. And the Don't Say Gay bill, or the Don't Say Gay legislation, severely limits the way that we can talk about sexual identity and sexual orientation, gender identity in the classroom. You basically can't talk about it, just like you can't talk about race, you can't talk about gender, you can't talk about anything, you can't talk about history, damn sure you can talk about slavery. They're policing the discourse, and the reason is because they think that it's inherently corruptive. That talking about race makes you racist, and talking too much about sexuality and gender and non-traditional gender identities might make the kids gay, might make the kids, something other than what they should be. And so these same people are calling drag queens groomers. So it's just funny. And I don't mean funny, haha, funny. It's weird. It's ironic. It's bizarre that somehow JD Vance, of all people, who has such a clear moral compass on all of these issues, is doing the very thing that he's accusing other people of doing in ways that harm us. You might say, well, he was just having fun. He was probably drunk, or he was at a party. He didn't leave the house drunk. He made a choice to do that outfit. Why? Because it did something for him. It made him happy. He thought it was funny. It was ironic. It was whatever reason he chose for that, he's able to separate that choice from any kind of moral or ethical assessment of who he is, or critique of who he is. Why am I saying this? I'm saying this because JD Vance would want grace for this. He'd say, look, I was in law school. It was a party. We were drunk. We're having fun. I would do something. I wanted to be silly. Maybe you were, but you weren't grooming anybody, JD Vance. Why can't you assume the same for someone else? You're not immoral by the choice. Why can't you assume the same thing for someone else? Like, why are you willing to give yourself so many chances and so much mercy and grace and not other people? This is the issue. This is a party that continuously says one thing and does something else. That is the issue here. I don't care about people and their choices, right? Again, wear what you want, dress how you want, love who you want, move how you want. I have no issue with how you do that. My only issue is the fact that you try to punish other people for doing it, JD Vance. So this will be very interesting to see how it envelops and develops, because now you have to explain to your base why you did that. And there are some people out there who are voting Trump or who are voting Vance because they honestly believe that they hate gay people. And I don't know if Trump or Vance hate gay people at all. I don't think they do necessarily. I don't think they hate LGBTQ plus across the board necessarily. I'm sure they have some phobias like the rest of us, but fundamentally, maybe they don't feel that way. But they're willing to take the votes of people who do feel that way. They're willing to exploit the political ideology of people who believe that way. And that is why this is so deeply and profoundly problematic. So JD Vance, just in case y'all forgot, look at your boy. I'm sure there's some real drag queens out there who do solid work, who could teach you how to improve your look. I'm sure there's some drag queens out there that could make you feel better about what you're doing. Because right now, fam, like, this ain't it. This ain't the move. This ain't the look. You're not killing it. You're not killing it, bro. You're only highlighting your contradictions. You're only showing your hypocrisy. And look, there's a lot of Republicans that move like this. You know, Republicans are pro-life, but they get caught trying to get abortions from their mistresses. Do you know how many of them are tough on crime until their own kids get locked up and then they want a slap on the wrist? Do you know how many believe in traditional family only to get caught with mistresses or to get somebody pregnant, or, you know, the abortion thing again, right? They're trying to get abortions from their mistresses. Like, this is who they are. Many of them are contradictions, walking contradictions. And we got to do something about it. We got to make different choices. We can't reward this behavior. Again, I don't give a damn how he dresses or what he wears. I just give a damn about how he holds other people to a different standard than even himself. And other people are irritated too, for the record, because um, as I've mentioned to you, this didn't show up randomly. People who went to school with him are like, yo, bro, we don't want you to be president. That's why I showed you the clip here of Matt IV, right? He says this, then he says the spokesperson thing, but then he says, I'm sorry, someone responds to him and says, I'm sure I didn't skip it yet. Hi Matt, I was the source of the photo sent through friends to you. This was taken in 2012. Again, like I told you, 2012. The same time I was at Yale. Photo was taken by a classmate and sent to me. Thanks for sharing. So we know how it went. It passed through the hands of Yale alumni. Matt said, "Thanks for documenting history and passing it along." And then you see a bunch of people trying to defend this ridiculousness. You see a bunch of people trying to protect him, but there's no protecting Donald Trump. There's no protecting JD Vance. There's no protecting anybody in that party that says one thing and does another. But that's neither here nor there, family. I wanted to give y'all that update. I wanted to break that down for y'all. Verena Frazier, I'm not playing with you. I'm not allowing these shenanigans that you are articulating to become fodder for more debasement. I'm going to get the hell out of here, y'all. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Thank y'all, Classroom and Self family. Thank you, Night School family. Thank you, Coffee and Books family. Everybody watching the network for different shows. Thank you for your support. Thank you for the love. I'm going to ask you all again. It's August 11th. We are deep into this month, and some of y'all have asked me how you can support the channel. This is how you can support the channel. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, or Zelle. Just go to them and give whatever you want. If you give $1, we're grateful. If you give $1 million, we're grateful. I always ask for $10 if possible, because if everybody watching right now were to give $10, we would meet our financial goals. We'd be able to pay our employees. We'd be able to do so much with your support and your investment. Also, of course, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the join button so we can get a monthly commitment from anybody so inclined. But the most important thing is that you like the ideas and the work here on this channel, that you consume it, that you share it, and of course, that you deeply, deeply study it. Read it carefully, read it closely. Check it against your sacred cows and the promised information. Check it all out. Let us know what you think about the channel. Let us know what you think about what we do here. We think we're doing something different here. We think we're doing something radical and critical. We think we're doing something that's grassroots. We think we're doing something that's independent Black media. But again, you all are the judges of what the quality is. We might be doing that work, but the question is, are we doing it well enough to merit your investment, your support? I hope we do, because that's what we're trying to do. Anyway, I love y'all. I'll see y'all later. Peace.